Right, so just got the seats out. Turns out there was only one bolt holding each of them in. Carpet is disgusting. It's really mouldy, and it smells really bad. Which means that we definitely have quite a few big leaks somewhere, probably on the firewall under the windscreen, I'm assuming. So obviously there's no point in sticking a whole new interior in if it's going to get ruined again. So I'll have to figure out what's going on there. It's definitely a lot easier to get the dash out now the seats are out. We've got more space to work with, because believe it or not, these cars are really small inside. They're big outside, they take up a lot of space, but then inside there's just no room to get around when you're trying to do things. So the seats had to come out, carpet's going to go straight in the bin, and then probably going to start pulling out the dash and gutting all of the wiring. But the good news so far is that under here I found a bunch of vacuum hoses, and I think these go, or at least they should have, they've been cut a bit short. These go to the heater control. I'm not sure, I mean, I can't see any other reason to have these vacuum hoses down here, but they are too short. I don't know, more stuff to figure out, but I think that's a good sign, because it probably means that most of the heater system is still present, I hope, because it's something I haven't looked into at all. I sort of just assumed that would actually be hooked up, but it isn't. There's nothing connected to it. Anyways, I'll probably do another video once all the carpet's out. And the rest of the interior is finally out. That carpet smelled horrible. I should probably have worn a respirator. It really was that bad. Under the seats there was almost a puddle of water. But the good news is, all of the fiberglass inside is actually in really good shape. Fiberglass floor pans, so no rust to worry about. I found these under the seats, and I think they are the seatbelt warning sensors, or that part of the wiring bin. It doesn't matter because it's all going anyway. That's where the battery goes. There are two vents, two hoses. I don't know what they're for. They might be for the old lead batteries. I think they needed an overflow or something like that. I'm not sure. There's the new negative cable that I've fitted that grounds to the chassis. I need to get a grommet to go in that hole there. Looks like there's another hole there. I don't know what that is. And there's the positive. Why they didn't use a red cable, I don't know, and it's annoying me, so probably will end up changing that cable just so it's red. That's got a new terminal on it anyway, but yeah, it seems alright. I don't know what they are. They were under there. It's an angle. Pretty sure they're not for this car, unless these were something for the seat belts they were going to fit. I don't know. Useful to have anyway. Why what would that be for? Why would you have to splice it into the loom and then, I don't know. What else was there? Yeah, we've got the mounts for seat belts. We've got I think that's where the retractors go, but we don't have any holes there or on the other side. So I'm a little bit confused as to how to fit seat belts to this car. Can we drill a hole there? But then we'd have to thread it as well. This one, it looks as though it's got a bolt. Probably can't see, but it looks like it's got a bolt welded underneath. And I don't fancy drilling holes into bits of the car if I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't want lap belts. I'd like to have 3-point belts. But yeah, we'll have to figure that out. These are nice. It looks like they were chrome at one point. I don't know what they are. Maybe they're for the T-top storage. That's where the T-top hooks in. I'm not sure. But whatever happens, I'll probably end up taking them off, cleaning them. Yeah, the chrome is actually really nice underneath all of that. And then cut the carpet out and put those back on, just because they look pretty cool for strapping things down. All the far. Something looks like it's had something mounted there and on the other side. It's missing. Don't know what that is. It's solid, so we'll just leave that there. All of this interior is going to be Dynamatted, or probably a cheaper equivalent to Dynamat. And then I think a layer of foam sound deadening on top of the other sound deadening, just to keep out road noise, because these side pipes are really loud. And I would like to be able to sit in this car, you know, with the windows up and actually have the radio on. So let's see what we can do. Probably needs, I don't know if the back window on these, obviously it does come out and it's actually falling out, as you can see. Oh, it doesn't actually look on this. It's probably another thing to fix, but I'm sure they've probably got a seal around, which probably needs replacing as well, because it actually looks a bit wet inside there, and it's not the bottle of oil that's leaked, because I just put that there. Interesting. Anyway, I think it's time to start pulling the dash out. Right, so we got the dash off, or at least half of the dash, and there's a cable. It looks like a bicycle brake cable on that end, and it seems to control that thing opening and closing. Now, there's only one of them. I know on the 77s, on the 71s, it should have, there's two levers on each side of the console that are marked open and close, and I think they open and close the vents, so I'm guessing that's what that's for. Now, the console I bought, because obviously I hadn't seen the car, I had no real idea what I was doing, is from a 74 or a 75. It doesn't have those vents, or at least the levers for the vents. So I'm not sure, really don't know how. I think that, should that open as well? No, I don't know. There must be something opening this at some point, because that, I remember my Cadillac had one of these and it did open. I really don't know about that, and I feel like this is going to be a problem getting this to work with the new console. Hope I don't have to buy the correct console, because they're expensive and I'll have to wait for it to arrive, and yeah, something I'm trying to avoid. Any ideas? Please comment below. Finally got the dash pad out. That was, honestly, that was the trickiest part of this, because I didn't realise you had to loosen off the two bolts under the column, drop the column slightly, and then that gives you enough space to sort of pull it out, but then you also have to disconnect the speedo cable, which has no play in it whatsoever. Not fun. Good news, sort of good news, is that here we've got 4 vacuum lines, here we've got 2 more vacuum lines that I found, and this is the original heater control for, I think it's for a 71 or 69 to 72 maybe, and it has 7, I think that's where the vacuum lines go, that's 7 connections, so we're missing 1 vacuum line. I have to read the assembly manual and figure out what's going on there. But that's good, because I'm assuming it means that most of the original heating ventilation thingies are all in place and they haven't been pulled out, which is good. The bad news is this cluster is horrible. It's broken there, but I can't afford to buy another one. And I'm going to leather wrap it anyway, so I guess I'll have to get creative with fiberglass or something there and make that corner up and just get it looking a bit better, or smoother anyway, clean up these edges. Because it's going to be wrapped, the gauges are all scrap, they're all broken. The reason that they were hanging is because all the tabs have snapped off, every single one. I'd love to know how they did that. Maybe they just over-tightened them, I don't know. Yeah, nothing connected to that, so that's all missing. I think something connects to that, or that, one of those two, and then it's like ducting that goes to the vents. So that shouldn't be too hard to find. I'm sure there's a whole bunch on eBay, so I'll have to get those. This actuator seems okay. Obviously I haven't tested it under pressure or anything, but just pressing the, you can hear get air go through both the lines, so it's, there's something going on inside there. I haven't checked the other one. They'll probably need rebuilding or replacing. Actually, I don't know if these ones can be rebuilt. They don't look like the headlight ones where you can buy the seals. So maybe just replace those. Yeah, birdcage, as expected, there's no rust anywhere. The only problem I've noticed is that this stuff here, I assume that's what they use to stick the windscreen in, it's soft. It's really soft. And I'm worried that could be where it's leaking. So, yeah, I really don't want to pull the windscreen out. It's the original windscreen, and the chances of getting it out in one piece are pretty low. Yeah, I don't know, maybe that's normal. I don't know. I thought that stuff's meant to go really hard or almost turn into like rubber, but this is soft, like you can just peel it off. But at least there's no rust underneath. Yeah, those gauges can't be reused, they're too far gone. Centre gauges, I don't know, some of them worked, some of them didn't. So I get the feeling I'm going to have to save up a bit of money and buy the Dakota Digital VHX or VXH gauges. They're about $1,500 plus shipping and duty and all that. But what they give you is, I think they get rid of all the mechanical side, all the analog gauges, and it's all digital. So there's digital senders that go into all the like the fuel sender and the oil pressure and the water temperature and all of that. They're all digital, and it gives you a nice digital readout as well. They look really nice. I haven't seen any bad reviews about them. So I get the feeling that's going to have to happen, because I don't want to put that back in and have to take it out again once it's been wrapped in leather. I'd rather it just goes back in and I never have to worry about it again. So yeah, next job is to start pulling out all this rubbish, and yeah, we'll see what happens after that. And I've just come into the first major problem, I think. That switch there, which is on the bottom of the steering column, here, just for reference, that switch just puked its guts out as I tried to disconnect the end. It all just fell apart. These pieces came out of it. I just had a quick look on my phone. I cannot see a replacement for that switch. It looks as though when you turn the key it pushes a rod. The rod is there, and that rod pushes the bit with the spring, which is all I think the spring has popped out. That should all be pressed down, and that's a switch that connects to the harness. I can't seem to find that part anywhere, although I have only looked for about 5 minutes on my phone. Anyone got any suggestions? Because it doesn't even look like that switch can be pulled off. It looks like it's held on with those tabs, so you probably have to bend the tabs back, pull the switch off. I'm sure that must be a standard part. I really hope I haven't just broken something that's going to cost loads of money to fix. I wonder if that had something to do with the non-starting issue. A dodgy connection in that switch, perhaps. That's thrown me off a little bit. It took me a few hours, but I finally got all of the old harness out. There was one part, there you go, that was 12 volts off the starter, soldered together with another random cable just wrapped around it. Let's see if it'll focus, no, it won't. And they wrapped electrical tape around it that fell off when I touched it. That was right next to the carburetor. That's why I ripped all this rubbish out, because it was just too far gone. Engine bay looks much cleaner without all that stuff in there. No wires to the lights, obviously. There are these two that are cut off. I don't know where they go. They go under the car somewhere. So I'll have to look at the factory wiring diagram and see what they're for. Assuming that they're actually original. They look old. I don't know. Found a bit of the original paint under there, so I'm gonna have to detail this engine bay. I can't think of a better time to do it. Get the cables out of the way, clean the valve covers, maybe repaint the alternator. Master cylinder's brand new, so that looks nice. All the brake lines are brand new as well. The carb does need rebuilding, so that's probably when I'll maybe get the intake blasted, because it looks a bit messy. But yeah, this will all need cleaning up. Let's have a look. Other wires that I haven't cut off, these ones, they go into this box. I think this is the blower motor for the heater, so I haven't cut those off because it's actually in pretty good shape, and I need to look at the factory wiring diagram to see whether I can integrate this into the new one, mainly because it doesn't want to come out. I don't know where it goes inside the car. Actually, I do know where it goes. It goes under there somewhere, and the only wires that come out are these ones, so I haven't cut these off because I think that might come in handy. Good news inside the car is that I found all 7 of the vacuum hoses, which is great. So that should make restoring all that a tiny bit easier. I don't think that's meant to be there. I think that someone's put that there to keep that shut. Well, again, I'll have to do a bit more research. Only wiring that's left is those 2 that go to the window motor. There's also a bit for the speakers there. I'll have to cut that out. All the dashboard is out. That wasn't fun. Let's see. Oh yeah, so this is where it gets a bit confusing. Coming out the bottom of the steering column are these wires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires, and they were all spliced into the loom, because this is obviously not the original steering column for this car. Now I don't know what these wires do. I didn't expect there to be any wires coming out of the bottom of here, because I thought that one was the main connector for this column, so a bit confusing. And the switches on the column are, you've got a hazard switch, you've obviously got the ignition, you've got a cruise control lever that does nothing because it's not connected, so that could be some of those ones, and you've got this one for, apparently you can push it in, well on mine you can't, for the windscreen washer. Obviously you've got the indicators which worked fine, and you've got 1, 2, 3 notches there. I think that's for the wiper speed. So that could be what these are for. The wipers didn't work anyway. I don't know. That becomes redundant anyway, because on 71 the wiper switch is in the middle there on the console, which I have here somewhere but I can't find to show you. Yeah, that's going to need some research. Again, on this side the only wires coming out of the door are the window motors. The new Speedway harness doesn't actually come with any sort of provision for power windows. All it says is it's got a 12-volt supply for power windows. So I'm going to have to get a bit creative and figure that out. And I'm definitely not going to run 12 volts through the window switches like GM did, because it burns out the switches. We'll have to stick a relay in there somewhere. That switch is giving me a bit of anxiety because I have no idea how I'm going to repair it or replace it. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I hope it's a lot easier than I'm thinking. Horn never worked, that's fine. So yeah, overall, again, no rust anywhere. There's a VIN tag. There's my t-shirt on the sharp edge. This car is absolutely full of sharp edges. I've cut my hands at least 5 times on these damn things. Not fun. So yeah, I think we're getting there. It certainly smells a lot better now than it did earlier, because those carpets were horrible.